Hey viewers, welcome to day 37 of the last 100 days of 2015. Today we're playing Royal Guard. Royal Guard is a stationary shooter game where you shoot arrows at advancing enemies. If you don't kill the enemies in time, they will attack you, and if you lose all your HP, you lose. Enemies can be melee or ranged and have varying amounts of HP. As the levels progress, more enemy types are unlocked and these enemies steadily gain more HP. Your damage goes up as well, of course, so you should be able to handle it. So far it's all pretty standard and it seems okay, right? Well, so far it is, I guess. Now let's take a look at what the problems are and what should have been done to resolve them. Before going into the design problems of the game, I would like to point out a major flaw in the programming. Upon killing an enemy, the game lags for about 0.2 seconds, which is really annoying. This is of course because of some check the game is doing. I don't know what it is and I don't care, although I have the feeling it's a server check. Seriously, if you make a Flash game, don't fuck around with checks like that. You basically destroy the gameplay to prevent people from cheating in a Flash game. Nobody cares. People do care about the smooth game and this is ridiculous. At some point I killed 6 or 7 enemies at the same time and the game lagged for more than a second. Anyway, let's go on to the game design issues. First and foremost, the levels take way too long. Levels take about 4 to 6 minutes, which is way too long for a game like this. Second, higher difficulty levels increase the HP and damage of the enemies, making that you need some serious upgrades to get through them. Needing 5 shots for one enemy is not an exception. Third, the upgrades are way too expensive and as said, you need a lot of upgrades to play on higher difficulty. Fourth, a game that only allows you to shoot arrows from a stationary position is boring as hell. Sure, you can cast a few spells during the rounds, but that hardly changes anything. Fifth, the spells are, well, boring. Outside of the volley, which is by far your most useful spell, at least in the early game, the spells are basically just single target nukes that make it easier for you to take down one single enemy. Sometimes you hit 2 or maybe even 3, but more often than not, enemies are too far apart to hit multiples. I could go on, but you get the point, I assume. Still, the game has great potential. The concept of the game is good and the setup is decent too. Let's take a look at how we can resolve this game's issues. First off, the lag. I've already discussed that. Don't double check if an enemy died, just accept that cheaters will cheat and get on with it. The level duration needs to go down to about 2 to 3 minutes per level. If someone can beat a 2-minute level, they can probably deal with a 6-minute level too. Higher difficulty should not mean higher HP for the enemies for this type of game. It should mean faster enemies do more damage, or more enemies get spawned. Since you have a single target, low damage bow, it's impossible to deal with a higher HP, but your spells will allow you to deal with more enemies on the screen. Plus, as we will see in a moment, there are ways to allow people to deal with more enemies on the screen if we change the spells. Upgrades need to be cheaper and more versatile. Currently, you probably only want the damage and attack speed upgrades. Nobody really cares about any of the others. The single target bow should be changeable into a multi-projectile, a piercing arrow, a split arrow, or even a mega attack speed bow. These changes should be incorporated in the spell part of the game. So when desired, I can shoot 3 arrows instead of 1 for, let's say, 5 seconds. After that, the skill goes on cooldown and my bow is my old bow again. The spells should be changed to bow changes, traps, and spells. I've already discussed bow changes, so I won't go into that anymore. Traps can be placed on the battlefield and will slow, stun, damage or kill enemies that step on them. Stun, damage and kill traps will need a reset time, but traps will stay on the battlefield for the duration of the level. Spells are damage or slow spells with decent AoE. Maybe they can even create temporary traps on the battlefield, causing enemies that walk into them to be stunned, slowed, damaged or weakened. A heal spell would be nice to have too, I guess, for when you get damaged in the higher levels. Once these changes are implemented, the game could be great. It might look like a lot of changes, but really it's not far off from where the game is now. All I did was remove the boring, tedious or ineffective parts of the game and replace them with better, more exciting versions. The basic gameplay will still be the same, it's just that with these changes the game will feel a lot better for the players. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. GG!